Okay, that was really, really weird. I just gave my whole show at 8:15, and then I look and there's this little message that says you do not have permission to go live on Facebook. Talk about a trigger. So let's start over. I'm going to do this whole thing again for you. And hopefully we are live now. It was not happy for some reason. And yeah, it looks like it's all working. Perfect example of a tech trigger, by the way. Technology can definitely trigger the stress response and cause you just all kinds of feelings like being annoyed, frustrated, angry even, or anxious. Today we're going to talk about social anxiety and avoidance personality disorder. I saw a great article this morning. I'm going to drop it below in the comments if you want to read deeper. So it's two psychologists and a psychiatrist sharing about the differences between social anxiety and avoidant personality disorder, AVPD, I guess it's called. Um, and I've only run into a couple of people who've shared about avoidant personality disorder before, so I thought the article was interesting. I see that it falls on a continuum, really. Um, Most people that I know and am around have some element of social anxiety. It can be quite minor, but it could be situational, like, oh, I just don't really want to go to that party. Uncle so and so is going to be there, or all kinds of little things that can cause us to be nervous about going to an event. Um, and so it's interesting to decide, okay, what is normal and what isn't normal. When it comes to avoidant personality disorder, that's to the point where a person just really does not want to engage socially and is very afraid to engage socially. Um, so you can go deeper in the article to read about it. What I found fascinating was that when they talked about the solutions or ways to minimize symptoms, there was no mention at all of the role of the stress response. I find this to be the case with a lot of articles that I read, and I can't help but wonder if there just needs to be more understanding about the stress response, because when you look at the symptoms of the stress response, they definitely play a huge role in whether or not you feel nervous in situations, whether or not you want to avoid situations. And so looking at the stress response, the side effects of those hormones and how they match up with the symptoms of various mental conditions. So, social anxiety, have you ever just felt a little nervous before an event or a lot nervous, depending on what it was? Maybe you had to speak, maybe you were running a meeting, maybe unexpectedly you were running a meeting. It could be a social event like a networking event or a party or a family party. We have Memorial Day coming up, so there are a lot of people who are going to be gathering as family. Sometimes that's very stressful for people to go to family events. And social anxiety shows up, right? We're just a little nervous about this one because so and so is going to be there. It's usually because of certain people being in a room. So we're not really afraid of public speaking. We're afraid of public speaking in front of certain people. I remember I was coaching a second grade teacher who created a really wonderful project, and her principal signed her up to actually present it to a group of teachers. And I was helping her overcome her nerves about that. She goes, I can talk in front of second graders all day and elementary school kids, but to talk in front of other teachers, to talk in front of adults, that's a different story. So sometimes we'll talk about being pushed out of our comfort zone. What I try to help people do is expand their comfort zone and step so that they can have their agency, so that they're not triggered by fight or flight. So I wanted to give some tools if you find yourself in situations where you feel some social anxiety. Um, and and it's not fun to feel that way. There are some clues that you do, by the way, and a lot of people miss these clues. But if you're thinking about the event, like days before or the night before, and you're noticing yourself tensing, that's a clue that you're moving into this social anxiety. That's a clue. Also, if you're like madly running around trying to figure out what to wear, feeling like you're going to be late, just that's a clue that you've triggered the stress response and that adrenaline is just coursing through your veins. And you're just running, kind of running around. What do we say? Running around with your head cut off, right? Like a chicken with the head cut off. Like you're just so out of control as you try to get ready. And you might also be very snippy and impatient with others in the home or others at work if you're all trying to get somewhere because you're like, oh, we're going to be late, and you kind of take that out on everybody around you. I've seen that before too, done that before too. So noticing these clues, you might not even think of it as social anxiety, but there's something going on that is causing you to get a little frantic. So noticing that moment where you're starting to move into that behavior, that moment when your body starts to tense up, when your thoughts are starting to tense, that's when you use a pressure-free tool. You have about 10 seconds before that flood of hormones, the catecholamines, is going to go out. So what can you do in that 10 seconds? I have a few tools to share today. The first I was sharing with a client 2 days ago. It's called double yellow line. She loves it, and a lot of my clients do. So you imagine the double yellow line on the road, it means we can't pass. So if you take a look at your day, and let's say you're in a meeting at work, and all of a sudden your brain is thinking about, oh, we have that social hour tonight. I don't really want to go. Like the tensing is going in because the so and so is going to be there or whatever, or I don't drink and everybody else drinks, like whatever the thing is. So imagine your double yellow lines, and you're like, oh, I can't go into that lane right now. I've got to stay right here. If we do cross over the WO line on a road, we're now dodging traffic coming the other way. So it's so important to like just stay in your lane, just stay here. You're going to be there at a different time, but right now you're just right here. We talk about needing to be more present, being more mindful. Double yellow line is a great tool for that. It just swings you back to where you need to be so you can stay in the moment and really be more present, especially if you use it right in that 10-second window. Let's see, the next one I have for you is flip the switch, and that's like a light switch is on your head, and we need to keep ourselves thinking cognitively. When we go into fight or flight, we shut down our cortex and hippocampus, which is why we're running around. We can't find our wallet, our keys, like we're losing things. We don't know what outfit to wear. We can't make decisions very well. Maybe you're even fighting about which car to take or take an Uber, or like all these things, right? So we got to keep the lights on. Flip the switch is like keeping the lights on in your head, smile a little bit and keep your head up, and then ask an empowering question like, how can we have a great time tonight? How can we have a smooth time tonight? Like, especially if you're usually frantic, like, what are the words that describe what you want? Sitting down and actually writing down some of those words, words that describe how you want to feel, how you want to be, that's so powerful. Most of us don't ever take the time to put the stake in the ground and say, I get to feel this while I'm at this party. I get to feel this while I'm in this meeting. Like whatever this thing is, I get to feel this way when I'm giving my speech tonight. Like whatever these things are that we're doing, how do you want it to be? So put a name, put a word on it. Give yourself a real description about how you want this to go. Um, so flip the switch. Another one is to settle your nervous system by literally petting yourself. So I think I shared this the other day, but if you're new to me, this I learned from Leela Veronica, my body coach, my business coach. If you want to connect to her, just DM me. She's not on Facebook, she is on LinkedIn. But you can take your hand and go over the tops of your arms or down your thighs. Just go down, not up. You're working in the direction of your hairs, your fur, and you'll notice that it's very soothing. Just like if you were petting a dog or a cat with the fur in the right direction. Once you get to know the animal, they want you to go all over the place. But when you first meet, we always go in the direction of the fur because that settles their nervous system. We can do it to ourselves. So just run down your legs a few times. This was so huge for student clients that had test anxiety that I've worked with by having them just go down their thighs, not up and down. You'll see people go up and down like they're trying to soothe themselves, but just down is going to work in the direction of the nervous system and settle you. So that's incredibly helpful. So those are a few tools that you can use to interrupt that stress response, to go into your social event. You know, if you're going to a party this weekend or Memorial Day celebration, Memorial Day parade, like a lot of people are going to be in a parade. I remember I held the flag as a brownie in the Memorial Day parade one year. I think we traded around like there were several girls that got a chance to hold the flag because holding it for that whole parade was a long way. But there's this little picture of me when I was little holding the flag. Um, and you know, what if we dropped it? Like there were so many ways we could fictionalize all the terrible things that might happen in the parade. What if we're late to the parade? What if we don't know where to find everyone? Like it just goes on and on and on. I think we're in the Brits parking lot for those of you who grew up in Concord, New Hampshire, right? So, um, so yeah, that's what I have for you today. Understanding social anxiety, avoidant personality disorder. I find it interesting that in Canada they don't add the D to certain mental situations or conditions. They would just say avoidant personality, right? Or post-traumatic stress. So I think it's wonderful because even in avoidant personality disorder, although it's less so than social anxiety, there are times when we're not nervous at all. There are times when we aren't. And so noting those can really be helpful for the times when you notice you are. A lot of people are very triggered when they have to go to something new, something they've never been to before. So with that, I'll wish you a very beautiful pressure-free day. Bye.